All right, so with the statistical problem solving process, okay, this is one of the things that we're going to do all year long. So the first thing that we do is we ask questions, okay? What is it that we're trying to figure out, okay? And so that's why we are doing this. We're going to ask a question, right? They help us to clarify what we're researching, and we want to ask more than one. Sometimes just asking one question's not enough. You know, yesterday we did that simulation where we were looking at the shirts. I mean, it was just a simulation, but it wasn't going to give us good data. One, we only did 12 shirts, and two, we were just kind of being goofy with it, right? So can't really get good data unless we ask some really, really good questions. The next thing we're going to always do is collect the data, and that's what we did. We made that frequency chart and that relative frequency chart, okay? So you'll be asked about these 4 steps on your first quiz next week, okay? So if you got them in your notes, you can go back and pull them out, okay? So we want to ask questions, we want to collect data, and then we want, I can't read my own handwriting. We want to analyze the data. Okay, so we'll use appropriate graphical and numerical methods to analyze the data. Remember how we did percents and we counted our tally marks and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then our last thing that we want to do is to interpret our results. Okay, we want to interpret our results. Yep. So we draw the right conclusion based on our data analysis. Okay. So most of our examples yesterday focused on the types of data that we had collected. And so today what I want to work on is actually creating some frequency tables. Okay, because frequency tables don't always have to be something numerical, and I just want to kind of show you how those look. We're going to do an experiment today, collect some data, and that'll be our lesson practice for the day. It'll be one of your grades for this week, and that's where we'll wrap it all up, okay? So let's take a look at an example. All right, so we asked 40 students, all right, which thing they'd rather be. All right, and so here are their results. They could choose famous, they could choose happy, or they could choose rich. Okay, and so they had to pick one. All right, so famous, happy, or rich. So the first thing we want to do is to create a frequency table. Now, remember yesterday I told you that you could skip the tally part if you didn't want to just go through and one at a time make the tally marks, right? So we can just count. So let's put, what do you think we're going to put under that result column? Yeah, those different categories. So famous, happy, and rich. Those are our options. It was healthy on there too? All right. I like alphabetical order. All right, so I'm going to put them in there that way. Okay, so famous, happy, healthy, or rich. Those were our options. Okay, and then how could we get the frequency? Count them up. Go for it. Well, good. That's good to hear. That's right. Quickest way to get out, graduate.
That's the only way to get out.
That's true. Well, I mean, you can always leave, but what'd y'all get for famous? 7. That's what I got.
Oh, we're supposed to be counting.
What'd you get for happy? 21, that's what I got. What about healthy? I got 4. Is that what y'all got? Okay. And then rich, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8. Okay. Now, we always want to be sure that we didn't miscount. All right. How many people did they tell me were in this survey? 40. Okay. So I always like to just kind of, for my own self, to double check myself, make sure this adds up to 40. Right? So 7 and 21 would be 28, and 4 would be 32, and 8 would be 40. So we're good. Okay? So you can always add up that frequency column. It should equal the total number of people included in the survey. Always double check it. Okay? Always double check it. So that way you know you didn't miss anything. Now, let's do the relative frequency table. Okay? And so with it, we change that frequency column to what? Percentage. Good. Okay, we're going to change it to a percent. So we still got the same categories: famous, happy, healthy, and rich. But now we've got to change those numbers to percentages. Okay? And when we do percents, it's kind of a multi-step process, right? You guys have a calculator app on your iPads, or you can use your phone calculator for this, since we're just going to do it real quick. Okay? So if we want to do that percentage for the first one, what's my denominator going to be when I think about the ratio? It's going to be 40. So we would do 7 over 40, right? Which would give me about 0.18, so 18%. Okay. How did I get from 0.18 to 18%? Multiply by 100. Good. Okay, multiply by 100. For our happy, we have the 21 over 40, which will give us about, is that 0.53? Okay. Which would be 53%. Let's see. Healthy, we got 4 out of 40s. That would be 0.1 times 100 would be 10%. All right, and then 8 out of 40 for rich would be 0.2, which would be 20%. Is it 52? What was the number we got on that one? 0.52?
I don't know. I just did it in my head.
Double check my math. Is it 0.525? All right, so this is where it gets interesting. I'm so glad you pointed that out, Chase. Right? Because if I add up those percents right now, what do they add up to? 101. Okay? They add up to 101. This decimal was actually 0.525. And so if I converted that, it'd be 52.5%. That's still going to put me a little over 100. That's all because of rounding. Okay? So it's really not wrong. Sometimes surveys, when you're doing percentages, will add up to 101 because of rounding. So, but you are, yeah, if we're doing the math, it should just be 52, right? So, yeah, it's a rounding thing. Good point. All right, good point right there. All right. So, question about a frequency table or a relative frequency table. This is what we're going to do today. All right, we're going to collect some data to make it happen. Okay, yeah. So be sure you've got that. When we get back from lunch, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do an experiment, okay? It is, just about. We're going to flip coins. Yeah. So something a little bit real. Y'all have no idea how many cubby holes I had to dig through last night to find 10 sets of a quarter, a nickel, a dime, and a penny. I was digging through everybody's change jar at the house. And then this morning I walked down the hall. I need 1 nickel. Mr. Lopez came in clutch. So, yeah, because I had to have 10 of all of that stuff. All right, get you some lunch. I'll see y'all in a minute.
I did it.